everybody. Good afternoon. Let's call this meeting on city operations meeting to order. The record reflects it's 4 o'clock and all committee people are present. Looking forward to the motion in progress. 16 minutes. Meeting discussion. All those in favor say aye. Noticing there's no people from the public here. If anybody would like, you're welcome to chime in on any of the topics when they come up. So we'll move on to discussion, resolution, the fireworks display license for Silver Bells. Anybody here talk about that? All right. Well, this is probably the Silver Bells celebration. There's fireworks at the end. To have fireworks in the city, you have to have a special permit, and it has to come through our committee and beyond. So I'm not really, especially without anybody talking about it, I'm not really here to hold them up or change it up. I know that this Silver Bells has continued for all these years. All those in favor of letting them do fireworks and scaring all the dogs?
Let me offer the resolution.
Thanks for using saying. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Not to make fun of that, it's just that it's always a lot of complaints. And then we always, say it's okay with fireworks when it's time. Not all the time. Moving on. Let's see. This is coming back up, the claim appeal, red tag fees, 1504 Lansing Avenue. What's about that?
I'm here.
Yeah, and Jeannie is supposed to be here.
All right.
She will be ready.
Well, okay, moving it towards the end. I mean, how's your time going today? I mean, you might want to get out of here.
Another year. No, I'm okay if you want to get this.
This is a little bit further down. Letter D, claim appeal. Davis for 625 in trash fees. Okay. See, really that I don't recognize. So, that's about this.
Yeah, I mean, quite simply, the vendor was called out. I believe I looked at their complaint, and I believe this was the matter of them essentially claiming that trash wasn't theirs and someone else put it on their property. Is that correct? I believe that's what it is. And so, I mean, the long and short of it is, we go out there, we issue trash violations, we have a certain amount of time to go, we re-inspect, the trash is still there. Whether it's all the trash, some of the trash, when the vendor shows up, whether again it's all the trash, some of the trash, or additional trash that maybe was not noted in the initial violation letter, we still have that trash abated by the vendor when they're on site. So after looking at the photos, looking at the claim, it wouldn't be these stands to.
Comments or questions?
Let's go this one through the claims for it. And did you guys decide to deny in full?
They denied the claim in full.
Anything about Mr. Williams' availability today, or have there anything decided to wait by the vendors? Yes, Mr. Davis.
He was again, he was invited, he stated if he would be in attendance.
Personally, I don't have the problem with this board if you go through financial committee with the appropriate process. This place, if anybody is familiar with this particular location, contract with us. So even if people are dumping on site, it's because there is zero maintenance of the property, there's zero presence on the property. That is something about their negligence of the property. So I would actually.
All right, further discussion? I don't have anything to add. So let's go. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
for $565 in trash fees.
1A Call Street.
Yeah, so again, this was a situation where violation was issued. There was
Come on in.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just pulling up the information here. Similar situation. Trash is on site. It claims letter was sent. Upon inspection, there was still trash on the property. So we submit it to the vendor. The vendor shows in and cleans it up. And I think one of the biggest complaints about Call Street was the fact that they felt that the charges were in excessive or in excess. The issue with that is that per our contract with Eric's, it's up to 3 yards, the additional charge. They were charged a minimum contractor charge, as well as the administration fee that is attached when a violation such as trash is sent to the vendor. And again, from the photos before and after, fortunately the property owner, there was still trash on site that was abated.
Questions or comments?
I guess my only question is, so you're telling me, so you're telling me that it's not that there was more than 3 cubic yards of waste, but rather the type of material that was taken was affected the total?
No, not necessarily. So essentially, okay, my call, looks like there was an additional $32 charge, which is in the contract under, construction material. But I believe that the claims review committee, didn't they take that off? $32?
Yes.
So the claims review committee recommended taking it off.
Right.
That release was not signed and we're here on the release.
So it's for the full.
Yeah, okay, I appreciate the clarification. And per contract, when we have a vendor go out there, the first 3 yards is essentially the fee. Short of it being done by a lawyer, which is a different fee. But in this situation, unfortunately, it's not done by a lawyer. It's the trash there.
Looks like there's a toilet.
Lisa, you talked to us about Whitehall trying to work with
Just for clarity in the record, I was not the individual at the claims review committee, but as is my practice before this meeting, I always touch base with that individual to receive notes on the discussions and the decision. I was informed that this claimant did not appear at the claims review committee, but that for their practice, they still review the materials. They noted that the invoice had the additional fee, $32 for construction materials after 3, but in CRC's opinion, there were no photos in the packet that supported that charge. She specifically indicated that in the last photo, it's clear the toilet was loaded into the trailer, but construction material either isn't shown or it's hidden by the green tarp. There's also, she noted that there was no before loading photo of any construction material, just photo of the deck, where there's a spot that something might have been. So in the mind of the CRC, they determined that there wasn't sufficient evidence to support, which is why they recommended an adjustment of that $32.
Yeah, 560. So, Chair, I would have to concur. So looking at what was authorized, looking at respective notes, looking at the pictures, and that's why I wanted clarity in terms of was the additional charge because of the type of material that was removed. It sounded like that this is the case. So I concur. I would probably. I don't want to. Well, I'll move to reject the claim in the amount of $565. No, not 565. 625. Yeah, 565. And so it'd be.
So I think you may want to say that you would need to grant an adjustment in the claim to deduct $32 from the original charge of $597, leaving a balance of $5.
Perfect. Yes. So I would move that we grant an adjustment, right? Original being 597, on the adjustment to reflect, the honoring $30 for heavy materials that we make.
All right, that's a motion. Any discussion?
Look on the second page of that portion of the packet, there's an email that stated Vietnam about that page that presented this page.
So, I don't know, it said he donated his toilet, and was out there to pick it up. It's trash, you just read these email. He also thinks that 600 to remove the toilet is stupid. So, I guess that would be further discussion.
Just to clarify, the 215 of that is the average.
Right. Minimum plus the materials that we came up with.
That's part of the motion.
Yeah, I agree, Steve, but it is what it is now, and without hearing much other information, I'll follow this. All those in favor of adjusting the grant adjustment to the claim? Say aye. All opposed? Okay, so I don't know if we're able to go back up and maybe reconsider or letter C, or excuse me, letter D. If that's proper, I would that direction after.
There's no issue.
Maybe I could have a motion to reconsider. All right, all those in favor of reconsidering item D because Mr. Davis is in the building?
Aye.
All right. Letter D, Mr. Davis. We did take your time pretty early, just so we're moving through everything, but we're bringing it back up since you're here to talk. We heard a little bit from the city now. Do you want to share with the commission your side of this?
Sure. Here's some pictures that actually the city took.
Yep.
I would like to point out some things under it. What's here? Have the picture that I'm referring to right here. And the mattress, another mattress on top of it. A rack of some type with some trash, other stuff. Behind here, there's a couch. Okay. It shows it on this picture that the couch behind that is there. I do not deny that it was there. It was dropped off there. My issue. I live in the corner of, I don't live there, it's my business. 5223 in the Boulevard. And every once in a while, people just drop off trash. Matter of fact, over in Metro Road's parking lot, there's a mattress and 4 tires over there right now. It's been over for about a week now. And I believe that I'm just being unfairly punished, and I'll explain to you why. It's because somebody else, as I said, dropped it off. I talked and left a message with the code office, letting them know that it was not my trash, that I would be taken care of. My dumpster as a business for these last 30 years has always gotten picked up every 2 weeks on Thursday. If you look at this date up here, the timestamp, now I didn't take this photo, the technician or the inspector took this photo, it's December 12th. Actually, I think on Wednesday or something. But I contacted them to let them know that I found out when I drove up, I'm returned. Because somebody's dropping off trash on my property. Altimeter, it's my property, I'm responsible for it. Right, everybody agree with that, right? No problem. But if you look at that, and after this, I found out that it was there, even after I got the notice, I contacted compliance of the situation, that my dumpster will be getting picked up on Thursday. If the notice came back 2 weeks later, December 20th. Since December 12th, 8 days later. And meanwhile, I already talked to them, and you'll see that there's only mattress left. You agree with that?
That's fine.
Yes, I'm not, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, at that spot. I called them, and the reason why that was left there, it was too big to put in my dumpster. You understand that? I called him and advised him of that, and let him know that on Thursday, that the dumpster would be empty, and I would tear up the rest of the mattress. I'm the one that removed all the other stuff in the first place.
What'd you call?
I didn't call, I'm the code for glass office. One over here, exactly right. But I believe they no longer works for them, or something like that, because of the situation of being short-staffed for the city. But I'm saying, I removed all of this stuff in this picture. In this picture, that was the complaint. Meanwhile, I talked with the code compliance officer, left messages on his phone, and advised him that the next Thursday, this dumpster would be empty, and I would tear up this type of stuff, and I did that. Okay? Now, here's some pictures that the contractors took. I want to refer to this one particular picture right here. See this, that back porch right there? Look at it. I need some acknowledgement that you see what I'm talking about. Because I'm going somewhere with this. It's together. See that? Okay. Now, some CO code. I'm actually, after this dumpster was empty, this was on Wednesday, December 21st, that was no longer there either.
What is that?
That last piece of mattress that was thrown on my property.
How long do you think it will go outside?
Rightfully, I don't know because I was in and out. I have cluster headaches, and within this time, I was actually there within that, and I see when I pulled up. I don't live there. It's my place of business.
You live in?
I stay 3 blocks away from here. Okay, I've owned this business. This property has been mine for 30 years. Okay. So what I'm saying, I'm the one that cleaned that stuff up in the first place. And the contractor said they came in and they took stuff off of my property. I want to let you know that back fence right there is the fence of my door, which you see the post and everything. I didn't take this picture. The contractors took this picture. It's standing. It has post on it.
Suggesting that
Oh, yes.
trash came from not your property, is that logo up there?
Some of this did not come from my property. And I'll get there, and I want to explain to you that this picture that they took after they said, they cleaned it up, they removed wooden fences, posts that were standing. In this picture, you see them standing. In this picture, after they took down my back porch. Okay? Here it is again. Now, the back porch has an issue with it. Because I want to show you this. Sorry, I didn't. I had some pictures printing the other stuff out. This picture right here. To verify it, the date on this timestamp is December 4th, 2023. Okay. I was broken into. Abandoned. Now, I'm perturbed because all this stuff is going on. So I took a lot of that stuffing, the stuffs, and I'll show you in the picture that they have on the back of the stuff where they took my porch apart. So, another thing, this is a thing for code compliance. I'm just talking about how there's no communication and how at the renewal, things like this happen without good communication. Now, here, I have a notice from code compliance, dated 4/12/2023, the city's everything, is, I can generate it to my address, saying that I need to remove a fence. Anybody need to see this? Because I was told that I need to remove a fence. And in this area right here, I used to have a fence there on the side of my building. Because of this notice, I tore this fence down, which was just rickety. It had a bad swinging door on it. But because of the notice, I tore the whole thing down. Okay? Which exposed, I've been there for 30 years, that fence has never really been open. So when I got there was railroad ties and everything there. It's still a responsibility. But I was in the process of taking it down. There's a reason I took it down. Now, that's my wife's point. The reason I took it down was because of the fence. Now, 2 weeks later, after I took my fence down, I get another notice saying, you haven't complied. I said, I called the compliance officer. I said, look, you're going to have to come out here and show me what fence you're talking about because I've taken down this fence that was on the side of my building that I'm responsible for. Now, I'm to find out that notice was for the fence that's behind my building that belongs to Metro. Metro's always been responsible for that fence. And that fence is still up. Why hasn't a contractor been sent to take that fence down? And there's a contractor that is sent out to clean up something. I already cleaned it up. But they found some wood and set some shingles that actually blew off across the street because of high winds. And some around my property that's just, that's just brush and growth. But like I said, if you look in this, that picture that the contractor has in the back of his, there's no, in any of those pictures do you see that particular looking like a white stretched couch frame. That didn't come from my property. Nowhere in the 4 pictures you see that. I'm sorry, you still got it. Yeah, I'm saying certain things happen, but because of miscommunication or non-communication, I did leave messages with the code compliance officer about what was going on. I've been there for 30 years, and I always try to do the best here. Certain things happen. I have another photo I sent to Renee that showed the police car that ran into my building. Okay? Went over with that. That still hasn't happened taken care of because it's just been because of lack of communication or whatever. Now that's happened 6-7 years ago, but I still got the photos on it, and I haven't even paid for that. But something that I didn't. A police car hit my building, and I have to pay for repairs. That's not fair. I'm so somebody else. I'm just telling you the things happen. Okay, so let's stay focused. And what has happened here is a lack of communication with the code compliance officer. Because of their lack of communication, in fact, in the room that I'm getting notices for a fence that's not even mine, and then I take down said fence, and I have some others because I'm going to put this fence back up. That's some of the wood also that they do. And after I took it down because I didn't have the money at the time to repair it, but had the wood, some of that wood still been there, I would have put it right back up because now there's all kinds of brush going up every year, trees that I have to deal with.
Let me ask a question. So I'm just going back to these pictures from the city. It's got the truck, semi full of debris. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that debris did not come from your property?
A lot of it, yes, did not. That wood that's on the top of it, that came from that fence that they took apart. I mean, if you look at this particular picture, and I'm not trying to approach you, I want you to see what I'm talking about. That picture, right there, with the slats in it. You see what I'm talking about? Stick the head to it. See what I'm talking about? See the slats? Okay. Now, this is after they left. Those slats were nothing. The wood that was there because I had been broken into. What's the wood right there? The wood actually, you know how expensive wood is now? Okay. That wood, if you look at one of those pictures, you see that on the other side, it's actually still good wood. And because they came to my property and looked and said, this wood is on the
Arguably, would be, violation. I know people get things taken that they say this is good stuff, but then the code says not good for
I
outside.
understand that, but my issue is that I'm the one that cleaned up the mattress in the first place.
Well,
And because of these stipulations,
Stuff around the mattress.
I just cleaned up everything that was dropped off.
You gotta finish the mattress.
I finished the mattress the next day, Thursday. I told the code compliance officer that I'm using message, the message, I called the 11 message for them. Letting them, advising them, letting them know that, first of all, that's not my stuff. The afternoon, I am responsible for it. And if that stuff had not been cleaned up, I mean, if I didn't clean it up, then sure, I'm cleaning the whole thing, around my whole property. But they tore down a back fence. I'm not trying to get upset or anything, but this kind of stuff, it ticks me off as a taxpaying citizen, and I've been there 30 years now. I mean, some of these guys on the city council, I don't think they've been here that long. Okay, so you're not really understanding as a, I am voting for some of you guys. Okay, and this is just not right. That's the word I'm talking about. You see what I mean?
Okay, I gotta slow you down now, because you said everything that you can pretty much say. And I don't know if that brings up any more questions from you again or not.
I think just to clarify, Nick, so the picture on the 20th, there's a mattress. I assume that you guys went out there, saw that, dispatched your trash folks, came out and they could clean up any trash, even if the process started. Sorry, just 1 second, sir.
Yeah, that's correct. So we go out, we revisit, crashes still have been submitted to the vendor code.
Okay, and they'll come out, even if the mattress isn't there, they're gonna clear any trash that's on the ground.
That is correct.
Okay.
For the attorneys, it does sound like that's how you've been doing things, but is there any problem with like notice when you say that you have matches and certain things, but then you thought that's gone, and other things that wasn't maybe on the notice to that?
No, the notice specifically indicates that all violations present on the property will be corrected.
But that's plus anywhere it's international. All right. Any members?
And I understand, I think I understand his point of view. Looking at the charges, and how much is in that trailer, I don't think that he was charged, for the amount that's in that trailer. Because if you look at the pictures with the wood stuff in it, I mean, that's mounting over at that. So they may have had that from a different home, but I would say for what he was charged, which I think was 5 yards, I think it's probably pretty close to what they picked up around this building, looking at the wood and debris and such.
Okay. Well, I would entertain the motions. I guess I could move to, I'll just move to, Chair, thank you. I'll make the motion to reduce the total claim as next time. For discussion.
Okay, so here, James, this is what makes it difficult for us. Okay? And I see my mother from when I was young, right behind you, Sarah Messina. It is incredibly difficult to take a look at these things and to remain objective and make sure that we as an appellate body just check the boxes, because that's what we have to do. Right? This is an appellate body, and the idea is to make sure that all laws are applied fairly, right, and consistently. The problem here is that I'm looking at everything, right, from the inspector's notes, I'm looking at the authorization form, I'm looking at the pictures, I'm looking at what you were charged, the fact that a lot of what you were charged was that to be $265. So I know that seems exorbitant, that number, but a big part of it is all of the administration of, the notice, back out on the property, picture taking, and all those things. Long story short, I just don't hear anything compelling to set precedent and say, yes, that partial, that is full grant, or partial adjustment, full granting of, we went through claim review committee, they kind of made that assessment, obviously. I can't support it simply because of that. There is a process after this, which means it's going to go to the full council, and then after that portion goes to the circuit court. But if I was to, I'll be honest, I just don't see the evidence here. So if I was to look at something similar in the future, it felt like every box had been checked in terms of our processes and the assessment. And I can't support it. Are there any other comments?
My only comment on that is I appreciate how you view this particular role. I view it a little different. Like, sure, the process happened, and then there's an appeal based on circumstances. We, the council, get to look at it and basically decide. I don't know that it's precedent, because everything at this moment is specific facts and circumstances. So I just look at it that way. I don't look at it like this, we have to look at a similar one, or we get in trouble if we don't. I just kind of look at it like case by case. But I have my motion, so we're ready to vote on that.
Any discussion? There is a motion on the floor. Discussion. Hearing or seeing none. That's all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oh, sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Ayes. Motion fails.
All right, looking for another motion.
I would move to deny this claim.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed. 2-1 passes. We go to the full council for consideration, which will be on 18. And that's where you're able to speak in the beginning of the 7 o'clock meeting. Talk about all that. All right. Moving on.
So y'all don't care about this right. And in fact, I mean, all y'all are looking at is precedent and what's sitting down because you can do this and you can do that. That's an abuse of power.
For letter C, I don't see anybody from the we need a refresher on that.
You only get a notice that says, when it goes, what do I have to do? Go before.
It's gonna go for city council on the 18th at 7 o'clock. If you want to add in, speak, you have 3 minutes to speak ahead of it. So
What date was that again? I'm sorry.
And it's right here, 10th floor, chambers.
The transcript of what was said here tonight.
like I said, this is recorded.
Yes, there are minutes to take as well. So you could contact our offices, maybe for the copy or when the next meeting comes up, part of the package.
And would that be available?
Well, the next meeting is a couple of meetings from here.
The YouTube will be available after this meeting. Go to YouTube, you can rewatch
It's
the
on
video.
top of the agenda that I had initially voted.
Link is on the.
On top of the agenda for the YouTube. And actually, that's
All right.
Right now?
Committee chair.
Brian Jackson.
All right. So, letter C. We got this a couple times. See the responding here. We need a refresher.
I'm pretty familiar.
Okay. Nick, I don't know how impressed you are. Basically, the respondent says that they put a lot of work and money and labor into what was or dilapidated red tag house, fix it up to like sales and everything's supposed to be fixed and look nice and fair, and they want the red tag fees adjusted.
That is correct, and I'm not going to dispute the fact that they did put a lot of work into the property. I would, however, like to point out it was all non-permitted work, so code cannot regularly walk into the property, do an inspection, and lift the red tag for a home that had significant unpermitted work done to it.
Okay, what about their not call the respondent and saying that they are trying to set up various appointments and
Yeah.
things like that, but had a little, problem?
Yeah, and I wouldn't so much call it a schedule problem. I did reach out to the code officer that is responsible for this property, Edward Coates. He acknowledged that yes, he did in fact have a few missed calls from is it Eugene now?
Yeah.
However, he did actually walk through with they set up a re-inspection on the property the same day. This was October 4th. Showing up to the property, the gas meter was still pegged, so therefore it still has not required utilities, which we cannot lift a red tag solely based on that one circumstance. There's no gas, we cannot lift a red tag. Obviously, ever notice all the work that had been done without permits, the subfloor and drywall, the electrical, plumbing, waste pipes that were leaking, and a lack of proper workmanship on the repairs. He walked through that with Eugenia, obviously educated her that in fact permits were needed in order to complete that work. Gina responded to Everett in a subsequent email, essentially stating, hey, thanks for coming out, I appreciate it, pointing out all the work that needed to be completed. Not comfortable at all waiving red tag fees almost under any circumstances, let alone when there's a lack of required utilities and unpermitted work.
Question about the lack of utilities. Why would they do that gas? Why would they set up these certain utilities when the plan is to fix the house up and then sell it for rent or something? Why is it a requirement before you can lift a rent tag, but there's nobody living there? I don't understand.
No, I can understand that. When the home was initially red tagged, there wasn't that reason. So when you bring up a compelling argument, and I honestly don't have the correct answer for that. Outside of the fact that in order to do a safety inspection, one of those items would be check furnace, to check HVAC. You can't smell a gas leaking if there's no gas connected to the property. So difficult to lose. Once a red tag's on, it's on. There's certain criteria that needs to be met in order for that red tag to be lifted. That makes sense.
It makes some sense as far as why. I mean, it makes some sense, but it doesn't make sense all the way. But it's what it does.
I think something through this is they bought a red tagged house. They knew it was red tagged, so this happened prior when utilities were on, and that red tag probably was continued. And it sounds like even if the utilities weren't on, that wasn't the issue with the red tag necessarily, but it's the interior work that needed to be done. It sounds like. And it sounds like it has been done, but not with a permit. So, for me, the gas not being on is not as big of a deal as unpermitted work within this house that they're now trying to sell to somebody, which none of that work's been inspected. We don't know if, Bob down the street that knows a little bit about electric ran those lines.
Yeah, unpermitted work could potentially be serious risk to the public safety. The life. Don't know.
All right, any other discussion? I guess just for my comments, I understand the process, I understand this position, the city's position, their position. I do not appreciate our overall policy to just maintain Morgan Farm, especially when nobody's living there, especially when they're not trying to live there, especially when there are clear improvements being made. I mean, I didn't go there, Ryan, you said you did. It does sound like they fixed it up from what it was and improved everything in the amount of time. I feel like it discourages good realtors, good homeowners, good flippers, good landlords from doing business here in Lansing because of the code and the red tag fees at times. So, I just won't support it, but I definitely, look at it sideways. Because
And I would say this, Chairman Jackson, good landlords do pull those permits and do that work legally. I'm not saying that this landlord is a bad landlord, but they didn't pull those permits. And that's a legal requirement for flipping a house or fixing up a house, especially when you purchase it, knowing that it is red tag, which they did know from packet that we've seen. And I get it. I understand what you're saying about the red tag fee thing. I just, unfortunately, if that doesn't exist, I don't think that there is a mechanism to make this people get this work done that needs to be done for the housing stock that we have now. Because there is that percentage of bad actors, a small percentage, that if they had nothing behind them to push them financially, would just keep it how it is forever.
Well, arguably, they wouldn't be able to rent it out if it's not, I know they still use it.
Yes.
But,
And just to prove a point, so the red tag monitoring fees are also an opportunity to ensure that the property is secure, that the premise violations aren't there, trash, board ups, things of that nature. And, unfortunately, with some of those properties, I stopped counting at 17 in the last 4 years violations for this property. So it's not just so much letting housing market proposal go into it. It's actually to ensure security and safety of premise violations, things of that nature.
I appreciate that, because I was thinking the same thing, Brian, speaking. It's, on the contrary, in my opinion, this is actually meant to discourage, continued dilapidation of these particular structures. People doing unsafe work inside of the structure, as an example, which is potentially what happened here, in terms of doing permits on purpose. But then also, nobody's doing this homes have, unsafe, uninhabitable. We have to send somebody out every single month to make sure that, they do a 360, properly make sure that these places are not our neighborhoods are the same level of health issues of our neighbors, because the ability of our neighbors, the property value of our neighbors. And it's a mechanism that I think we enforce with done it works.
Say aye. Aye. Opposed, passes 2-1. And you reach out to All right. Last items are letter F and G, our sign ordinance that I've been thinking about so much since, it came up. And not to mention, Curtis Bertel ended up texting me. Hey, we got it taken care of. I can always assume that someone knows I'll say, Brian's talking crap about your signs in the media, which my point is that Curtis Hertel, his campaign, would not have authorized putting the sign in the media, but would, based on this ordinance, receive at least one civil infraction if we actually force them to commit multiple civil infractions for having their sign in the media. You know, we can talk about it, I guess, attorneys can chime in, everybody can, but my thought is, I probably can't support it because I don't want to be thinking like, I don't want to be responsible for Curtis Hertel, Kamala Harris, or anybody's sign, or Cody's Candy Man, whoever, in a civil infraction, especially if they put it there, which we don't know. It almost seems like whoever's property is in front of, and I understand like the media, Boulevard media, there is no property there besides the city, but whoever's property is in front of would be more culpable and responsible than whose sign it is. But, you know, that's just probably why I won't end up supporting it. And again, this is one of those things that it's crazy to support in my opinion, but I just don't want later, like, whose idea was it to give, you know, the owner of the sign or the business penalty when it's probably could be found out that they didn't put it there. So that's just what I was thinking. What else would have said? Ernest, you guys have anything to add on that? Is it?
Sure.
I mean, like, do we really expect to? How well do we expect to enforce this?
I'll tell you, I mean, I know I won't speak for any council members who I think desired something similar to this in the past or even at this go round. But I know in speaking with the mayor, and I know just generally from our office discussing these signs in public rights of way previously, the issue really is there is an issue with enforcement with the way that it's currently written. It should be very clear and clearly stated. Currently, at law, no one can put signs in the right of way unless we put the signs in the right of way or we have explicitly authorized the sign to be placed in the right of way. The right of way is the public's. It is held by the city in trust for maintenance for the public. I guess the primary target for this is not so much a political sign that someone accidentally puts in the boulevard or in the parkway instead of on their side of the sidewalk. The primary target of these is the people that go and staple their advertisements to the utility poles and put them in the middle in the median or along commercial corridors and get basically free advertisement on city land and clutter up the city rights of way with their advertisements. And in the past, I mean, the way that it's written, and it's still written this way, it's a violation to place or cause to be placed into the right of way. So in the past, when people have said, we got to go after somebody, put these signs here, our office has said, okay, it's a crime, 1. 2, I need you to go do the investigation and figure out who put that sign there, and we will write them a citation, we will take them to court, and it's a misdemeanor, and we'll try and be on a reasonable doubt if we have to, or maybe they'll plead and take some deal or whatever. And I'll just say the real goal, as it was explained to our office, is to find a way to strongly disincentivize people doing this. It's still very much the fault of the person who put it there first. But as is the case with, I'll just say, Banker Jackson Roofing, when they go out and put those everywhere, I didn't put it out there. You didn't put it out there. We paid some guy to go out and slam those things at every intersection so that we can get free advertising for our fledgling roofing business. And we are certainly getting the benefit of that free advertising space. It's like a billboard without renting a billboard. You got to pay for that little wire sticky thing and then cheap plastic placards and slap them down, and we get some calls off of that. So in the hypothetical universe, I'm sorry, Brian and I do not own a roofing business together. We haven't even talked about it yet. So that's really the target. And so the idea with this is to say, okay, if we can't figure out who put it there, then it's presumed, much in the same way that cars parked on the side of the road illegally or improperly, there's a presumption that the owner of the vehicle put it there, and that's at state law also, because we don't know exactly who drove the car, but it's pretty good odds that the person who owns the car knows that it's there. And so this is designed to give us a presumption that the person whose name is on the sign is also responsible for that, so we can start mailing those out. In addition to picking them up and pulling them out of the intersections.
Thank you. Two comments.
Yep.
One is, can we switch the language and add the word rebuttable presumption?
Yes, and I think the way that it's written, shall be presumed responsible, I mean, we can add rebuttable. If it says a presumption can always be rebutted, but yeah, we can.
It's not necessarily the back.
Right. We I mean, we had this discussion in our office because somebody said, why don't we put deemed? And I said, well, somebody should have, you've got to have the right to show up in court and say,
Even
no.
though I hear them say it's a rebuttable. All right,
Yeah,
that's my first.
agreed.
My other thing was, kind of busting you out here. So if you're arguing, certain signs that a First Amendment.
Well, no, I'll say that the desire is to eliminate those signs. I'll say it's still against the law to put any signs in the right of way. And you're correct. If we were to write this to say only signs that advertise are prohibited, also if we enforce it that way, sure. I mean, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's got to be a content neutral law, and it's got to be enforced content neutrally. And I think similarly, we would send. I think there would be nothing improper with sending a citation to, and I think it would make sense to have a rollout period where there's a information dissemination. This is not my job. I would have to, I would recommend, if asked, though, that there be an information campaign so that homeowners, residential homeowners, understand, much in the same way that, yes, you have to mow the grass, but no, that's still the city's. That's not yours to put stuff in. I mean, and we have sent communications to people who have placed signs that have been, we'll say, objectionable, and said to people, hey, your sign is in our land. If you don't take it out of there, we're taking it out of there. And people remove the signs.
That is notice going to happen.
There's no notice provision written into this now. I'll say that will be interesting from an enforcement standpoint. And we've had some discussions about you could potentially, because the information the city would have is, or the presumption that we could have is different when it comes to signs that are in front of a property or that are in a right-of-way that is directly adjoining a parcel, as opposed to a right-of-way running down a commercial corridor or sitting at an intersection or sitting in a median that adjoins no one's property. In terms of, would it be a more effective deterrent to send letters to homeowners and say, or just pick up the signs ourselves and then send them a letter or bill them? But again, there's the enforcement problem, and you've got to, the city has to be able to pay for the person that's going to drive around and pick up all the signs and throw them in the back of a pickup truck.
They should put out a mass email to all city employees, especially public service, that if you see a sign like grab trash, like recycling, just throw it in.
We've had, I can,
But yeah.
many a fun law school hypothetical has been discussed along these lines.
I just have a couple of quick things. One, your roofing business is probably on your hands. So it look like these ones, scrapes and scars, stuff. I don't know, calluses. I don't know where
We've got the scars over here.
Yeah. Anyways,
I've had calluses. They're gone. I can show you pictures. As a younger man.
good attorney pay. So I think with this, as someone that before got on council walked up and down streets picking up trash, these signs are terrible for the environment. They blow up, they end up in our streets. I have picked up so many. We'll buy your junk cars, we buy your gold, we buy gold, call this number that's not this area code for some sketchy something, or be looking for a good time. I mean, there are all kinds of signs that they put out there. And I think that's the issue for me, is they end up in the gutter. and it's just adding more trash. And I would hope that with this ordinance, people are gonna get the message that they need to stop putting those signs. And we can reduce the amount of plastic and cardboard and junk that ends up into a waste facility. Because I filled bags of these signs and they end up everywhere. Once the wind takes them, who knows where they go. I think that this is a good change with this sign ordinance. You know, unfortunately, I think that there are some people who have been warned numerous times about it, specifically realtors, who have been warned numerous times and they still continue to put their signs. And I think that's probably a frustration with the department and everyone else as well. I think without some serious enforcement, folks are going to continue to put those signs up. You know, if we just wag the finger and say you can't do this. But I do agree that, you know, as a rollout, there should be, you know, some kind of a, if you do this again, or this happens again. And, you know, I can tell you that we've all ran campaigns, we've all put out signs, we've all been very clear with people that we give signs to, please do not put them at the sidewalk. Or if they ask them, if they ask us to place them, we're not placing them in that area. So I think that most people do follow the rules on this, but they're just those outlying ones that you don't really even know who it is. You know, I think that's the purpose of this, in my opinion.
I say ditto. I'm less worried about, even though it's a thing, you know, as an example, companies receiving free advertising on this. For me, the issue is it jumps up our public right-of-ways, and absolutely trash is a free issue. I can't tell you how many times I've pulled out our catch basins. You know, we got anything that's flooded, and I can't tell you the times I've had to stop just so I can see where cars are, right? So that folks can actually engage some state passage through the neighborhood, or whatever that might be. So for me, in reality, we're not really good time enforcement. We have some bad actors that use, right? They use over and over. I think education, enforcement is a great policy part of the process. I think looking to work with administrations so that as they work to operationalize this ordinance, they can part of the rollout and it's important. I think we can do that right across branch. But the reality is it's something on the books, not willing to do that, some of that. So
I do want to at least, you know, on the record, get a response. There was a comment made from a public commenter, either first or second public comment at council last week. The one remote commenter who was talking about he had a concern about a potential conflict with the recently totally rehauled sign ordinance, which is in 1310, chapter 1310. There's a section of 131009. And he thought that the proposed change here would be in conflict with that, and I just wanted to at least address that in case it comes up, or I guess for your knowledge and concerns. Section of 1310 that he was referencing is 1310.09, actually not on Unicode yet for some reason, but it's available because you all just adopted it in mid-September. 1310.09 is the section of the sign code that discusses signs that are exempt from permitting. And I just want to make clear, 1310 is talking about where signs can be on property, private property, as well as public property, but not so much right-of-way. And it also talks about permits that must be pulled by someone who wants to put a sign onto a building or next to a building on their property. 131009 is talking about signs that do not require someone to pull a permit in order to put the sign up. And it's stuff like the sign that has your address number on it. You don't have to come and ask us for a permit to put your address number on your building. Public signs that we own, construction or work zone signs, sidewalk signs, which actually don't go in the sidewalk, but are on the property next to the sidewalk. The point is, these are it's not in conflict at all with the prohibition that we're talking about in 606. prohibition that we're talking about in 606 is saying you can't put signs in the public right of way. Here's how we're going to enforce that. And so I just wanted to make clear that the distinction, the concern raised by the citizen is not, the two will not be in conflict with one another.
One more thing on this, I'm trying to spare this time. So I want to support it, kind of, like that's a strong thing, but number 3, place, cause to be placed. I would wonder if we could add allowed to be placed, comma, allowed to remain. And I think if that was added, it would not only be the sign business or person, but also the business or the property that's in front of you. I just want to number 3.
It's on line 21 of
Line
page 1.
2B, instead of place or cause to be placed, we would also add allowed to be placed or allowed to remain. Because, you know, the business that has a whole bunch of signs in there, part of the right of way, they might not put them there, but they're out there looking out the window like, man, we got 5 signs out here. Oh, well. They could be responsible for civil infraction.
But-
Or the house.
They can go out and rip those out though.
They sure can. Yes, they always can.
What I was wondering, is basically penalizing inaction, but since it's not a crime, you can have inaction with a civil infraction, like, you got it. It's interesting.
I will want to research that because there's a difference between we require that the homeowner shovel the sidewalk, snow. I mean, there's those kinds of responsibilities regarding the right of way that adjoins a person's property, but allowing to remain. I don't know if we can put this obligation on that property owner. I would need to look at that. I hear what you're saying. I mean, we want to target the person who put the sign there, and we want to target the person who benefits from the sign being there, because the presumption is they wanted the sign to be there. I mean, that's what the presumption states. So I don't know that we can. We would have a different kind of legal challenge from the person who said, one, that's not my property, that's your property, the city. I didn't put it there. I don't suffer it to be there. If anything, you, the city, suffer it to be there. So I'd want to look at that and make sure that we can't penalize the person on the property adjoining.
We still have an expectation of them maintaining the woods.
Correct, but that only goes so far, and I would need to make sure that it can go as far as this.
Sure.
Please.
If I may, I also have some concern with kind of a vagueness argument with like allowed to be placed, for what time period are we talking about?
Right.
Place a sign and then 10 minutes later, an appropriate enforcement body comes out, takes a picture, removes it. At what point are you expected to stand outside, So I
Right.
have some question about like a time frame.
Right, snow has to be cleared within the next number of hours.
Right.
Let me think about that. I mean, the only other thing that I would say, well, yeah, I'll stop there.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, at least just looking into that, it might help me into.
Sure.
For first bit. All those in favor of amending chapter 606 to prohibit placement of signs in public right of way, and specifically changing it to civil infraction penalizing the sign owner or business, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, correct. 2-1 passes. Letter G, same idea, but this makes it a municipal civil infraction, punishable by fines as part of this amending chapter 203 to make it a civil infraction. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Anything else?
No, you're good.
All those in favor say aye of adjourning.
I for sure had a 2-1 on that one.
It's quite intense.
Oh, you know, that's civil infractions.
It's fun, it's fun stuff.
I was serious about that roofing business. I'd beat your hand up a little bit more.
I mean,
You said if you want to